In Project 3 that begins on page 178, we're going to take a look at how we can arrange, size, and copy data between workbooks. And we're going to actually look at a couple different features that Excel has to do this. But if you want to open up multiple worksheets or workbooks in Excel, you can do that pretty quickly by using the Shift key or the Control key, depending on what files it is that you're wanting to open. And then once you open up multiple workbooks, then you can take that information, copy it from one, or actually move it from one workbook to another. You can also, with multiple workbooks being open, you can also view different workbooks at the same time, enabling you to work from both of those workbooks and obtain information from those workbooks. So as you read through pages 178 through 180, you can kind of see the different methods of opening, arranging workbooks so that you can see them on your screen in a variety of ways. At the top of page 181, they mention briefly how you can hide and unhide workbooks. And there may be times when you want to hide a workbook. Maybe you're working at a computer where customers are coming in and out, or maybe you have coworkers that come up quickly or whatever. You can hide that workbook so that the user can't see that. You can also minimize it. It's just another method of being able to control what's being shown on your screen. We're going to begin Project 3A by opening up several workbooks at the same time. And to do that, I'm just going to click on the Open button from my Quick Access toolbar. I'm going to go back to my Student Data Files folder and Chapter 5. That lists out the workbooks that we have in Chapter 5. And they ask us to open up a variety of these files. They aren't adjacent to each other, so we're going to have to use the Control key to select them. However, if you wanted to open up the first three files, you can click on the first one, hold down the Shift key on your keyboard, and click on the last one, and it highlights everything in between. Or if I wanted to highlight the bottom 5, I could click on the first one, hold down the Shift key, click on the last one, it highlights everything in between. The Control key allows you to select non-adjacent workbooks. So they want us to open DI Jobs, EP Sales, FIN Con. I'm holding down the Control key all along here, and RP FAC Accounts. Okay, so with those selected, then we can click on the Open button, and that'll open all the workbooks simultaneously. Now, to see which workbooks you have open, there's a variety of ways that you can do that as well. You can't see mine, but all these workbooks are being displayed on my taskbar at the bottom. And depending on the size of your screen, they may all be showing down there as separate buttons, or there may only be one button pertaining to Excel. You just click on that button and it'll pop up with a little drop down or up, I don't know, the menu goes up and shows all the different workbooks that you have open, and then you can click on whatever one that you want and quickly get to that workbook. Another way is to go to the View tab, and in the window group you should see Switch Windows. Okay, I'm going to click on that, and that shows you all of the workbooks that I have open. I have a couple extra ones open, but it certainly shows the ones that we just opened that were mentioned in Project 3A. So, and again, if I want to switch to one of those, DI Jobs, I can click on that and it immediately goes to that workbook. Okay. The other thing you can do too is arrange all of your windows so that they're showing at one time. And to do that, again, from the View tab, Window Group, you can click on Arrange All. That brings up the Arrange Windows dialog box, and then you can arrange them either so they're tiled or horizontal. They'll go up and down here. Vertical, horizontal's across, I'm sorry. And then vertical's up and down. Cascade gives you a different feel as well. So you can play with those. I'll do tiled here. If you get too many workbooks open, you can't really see them all. So close out that one. Can't really see them all real well, but you can quickly get to them just by clicking on their title bars. So great way to be able to move and get to those workbooks fairly quickly. If you only had 2 workbooks open, it would show each one of them side by side or on top of each other, and you can certainly see more information with that. Notice the active window though is the one where you'll see the minimize, maximize, and close buttons. So those are your active windows, and you can do that by clicking on the title bars of each one of those workbooks. Now I'm going to go to DI Jobs, and I'm going to maximize this so that's the only workbook that I see. Even though the other ones are still open, I haven't closed out of those. If you'll go to Switch Windows, you can see these workbooks are still open. It's just they're not maximized. But let's take a look at how we can hide a workbook. And to hide a workbook, again under the View tab, go to the Window group and then Hide Window. So just click on that. That hides it, I know, but it's still open. Okay, it's in memory. It's not shown. We can't click to that necessarily, but it's still open in memory. And if you want to hide another one, RP-FAC, let's do this one. Let's hide it as well. Again, now it's just showing the windows that you have available, but it did not close out of the ones that we have hidden. And in fact, if you're passing the workbook on to someone else, or if you're going to allow someone to sit at your screen or at your computer, you can protect the workbook by applying a password, and then that way the user that sits down at your computer cannot unhide the workbooks. So, and they don't talk about that in this chapter, but that is an option. Okay, and then to unhide your workbooks, you just go back to the Hide button, Hide Window button. Woo! And I kept clicking the hide. It's the unhide window, but let's unhide that. Now I've hidden a lot of my windows, but it'll list out all the workbooks that you have hidden, which according to Project 3A there should only be 2, but since I clicked the hide button quickly, I've closed out the other ones too. So to unhide those, you just select the workbook that you want to unhide and click OK. And now you can see I still have the blank workbook too, but the EP cells became available to us. If I go back to unhide, it gives me the list of all the ones that are hidden. I can just keep unhiding those and bringing them all back, and you can see they become available. And the last one should be there. You can also open up a new window of the current workbook. So if I wanted 2 workbooks open at the same time, you can certainly do that by using the new window option. And if you go to the window group, there's an option in that for new window. And when you click on that, notice the title bar, it's RPF accounts, and it'll have a :2. This is your second window. That workbook can only be really technically opened up once, but you can have 2 different windows showing, and you can see that right here. So you can switch back and forth between those 2 windows. It's the same workbook, but you can certainly switch between those at the same time. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and go back. We can go back to the first one here, and let's take a look at how we can maximize and minimize those. And I think I kind of already shown you this back at the very beginning when we were talking about the different windows. But the second row down of minimize, restore, and close deal with this particular workbook that we have open. So if I click on the minimize button, that'll minimize it and allow me to see the next workbook. It's still open, but it's in a minimized state. If I wanted to restore that one back, now I'm going to go back to Switch Windows, and that brings it back up. Okay, it maximizes it. The other thing, if you want to restore this window, the first window, I can click on that. It makes it a little bit smaller so I could move those around. And I'm just clicking and dragging on the title bar in order for that to be arranged and positioned on my screen the way I want it. And then of course, to get it back to its restored state, you just click on the maximize button. In Project 3C, we're going to take a look at how we can take information or data from one workbook to another. I've gone ahead and done a couple of things that they've asked us to do. At the end of Project 3B, they wanted us to close all of the workbooks. So I've closed all of them out. However, in Project 3C, they wanted us to open up DI Feb Jobs and rename it as ELC5P3 DI Feb Jobs. So I've done that already. Then they also wanted us to open DI Jobs, and we're going to take information from the DI Jobs workbook and we're going to copy it into this DI Feb Jobs. So great tool, great way to be able to have both workbooks open and just copy and paste text or cut and paste text from one workbook to another. So they want us to arrange these workbooks, and I need to probably close out of this extra book. I'm going to close out of that so you can see what's happening here. Okay, so to arrange them, I'm going to go to Arrange All, and we'll choose, let's choose Tile. Now, it tiled the workbooks that we have open, which we only have two, the DI Jobs and the DI Feb Jobs. And again, we're going to take information from the DI Jobs workbook and we're going to copy it to the DI Feb Jobs. Now you'll notice there's not as many customers in the DI Feb Jobs as there are in the DI Jobs. So we're going to take some of these, copy them over into the DI Feb Jobs. Alright, and they're asking, I guess they want them all. They want all the customers A3 through D10. They want all those to be added to the DI Feb Jobs workbook. So I'm going to select that. We're just going to go through the same steps that we would to copy and paste. I'm going to select the information, select the cells, copy however you like to copy. I'm just right clicking and clicking on copy. Then I'm going to go to the workbook that we want to copy it in, and you kind of have to click twice. Let me do that one more time so you can see what's going on. I'm right clicking and copying. That puts me in the copy mode. Notice this workbook is not active yet. So the first click, even though I'm going to click in cell A8, doesn't always, it kind of sometimes activates it, and then you have to click it again to make sure you're in the cell that you want to be in. So at this point then, in cell A8, we're going to paste, and I'm just right clicking and pasting. And that'll take this information, place it in the new workbook pretty easily. So great tool, again, for if you can arrange your workbooks quickly, moving information from one workbook to another. Now that doesn't mean too that you can't have just one workbook open at a time. You know, maybe you originally had DI Jobs open, you didn't even have this file open yet. You can still copy, put that in copy mode, and then open up the workbook and paste. It's just that this makes it a little bit easier to be able to see both of the workbooks at the same time.